Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more Legacy action. Today I am once again dipping into my Depths Ember sack to find you some weird and wonderful Marit Lage nonsense. This time it is mono red Dark Depths, that's right. So how is this deck going to work? Well, if we have Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon in play, Dark Depths will enter with no counters. Then if we lose the Blood Moon or the Magus of the Moon, this will become a 20/20 creature and we can beat our opponent down with it. In order to get rid of our Blood Moons, we've got a few options. We have Telemtor's Edict, which is a 1 mana, exile target permanent you own or control, draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So it's a cantripping way to get rid of one of our pieces. Not too bad. Then we have Betrayer's Bargain, so as additional cost to cast this, we can sacrifice a creature or enchantment or pay 2. So we can sacrifice Magus of the Moon or Blood Moon, and then we deal 5 damage to a creature and then it can get exiled. So this is actually a nice way of dealing with Pyrogoyf as well, which is one of the things that's keeping this deck back a little bit at the moment. The rest of this deck is pretty much just standard mono-red stompy type stuff. We do have Kazul's Fury, which is a way of flinging our Marit Lage, but can also be used to fling a Magus of the Moon for damage. We can also use Bombardiers to fling the Magus of the Moon as well. We've got access to a Fury and a Pyrogoyf. I went for one of each, so that when our Fable Mirror Breaker is flipped, we have the options of potentially having either of them come out of our deck, because they both have different utility. And obviously we have the One Ring, so we can draw all the cards in the world whilst accelerating ourselves out with our Soul Land, Moxen, and our Simian Spirit Guide. Out of the sideboard, I've got a little bit more removal in the Fury and some Fiery Confluences. Oh, why have they split up? Let's just fix that for you. Okay, so we've got 2 Fiery Confluence, 2 Fury, we've got a couple of Null Rod, a bunch of Trinispheres we're going for here. We're trying to make 3 drops on turn 1, so we're leaning into Trinispheres. And then we've got some Graveyard Hate in the form of Faerie Macabre and Ravenous Traps. Ravenous Trap is turn 0 interaction. You sometimes see this alongside Unlicensed Hearse and red stompy decks. I wanted to see how it felt. So that's what we're doing today. A bit weird, a bit wonderful, and I hope you enjoy it. Please remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss any Depths Ember content, and feel free to join my YouTube membership program and you can see all my videos early. Let's get stuck in. This opener isn't really sparking joy, so I'm going to mulligan this one. Bit of a weird one, all in on the Broadside Bombardiers and nothing to do with it. So we can imprint Chrome Mox with the Shatterskull Smashing, play a land, Simian Spirit Guide, get out this guy. But then what? I think we can do better. Let's go to 5. Okay, we'll keep this one. We'll get rid of a couple of Ancient Tombs, I guess. So the plan is turn 1 Magus of the Moon. That is an incredibly powerful thing to do in Legacy, and it can completely ruin people's entire strategies. We start off on a non-basic, which is obviously great news for us. Let's go for this Chrome Mox. I'm going to imprint the Telemtor's Edict, which is going to raise an eyebrow on our opponent's end of things, but that's fine. They don't have an immediate access to Revolt here, so killing this might be difficult. We're keeping the other one because this is probably going to be a game that we just try and moon our opponent out of the game. Crop rotation, presumably getting a basic land here. They could go get a Swamp, and then it turns on Fatal Push. I'm getting the impression our opponent is on the Pox train. Okay, are we going to get Fatal Pushed? No. That's good news. They could have a Mox Diamond and this allows them to Smallpox, which would be absolutely backbreaking on our mulligan. Orcish Bowmasters does exist, so I need to play around that one. Let's play the Magus first. If they have Orcish Bowmasters, I don't really want to trade this off. So I guess we just pass. If we can stop our opponent from playing any green spells, there's like no Witherbloom commands, no more crop rotations, that sort of jazz. And eventually we're going to draw something useful. Simian Spirit Guide. City of Traitors. I don't think I'm attacking in here. They didn't play the Bowmasters last time, but they might just be trying to sell the fact they don't have it. So that we can attack in. Now we can start chipping away. Chrome Mox is not ideal. Am I going in with everything here, or am I going in with just the Spirit Guide? I don't want to get just tagged on this Magus. If we draw a Dark Depths and play the Dark Depths with no counters on, then we can be a bit more reckless with our Magus of the Moon, because then they have 2 problems to deal with. But the Wastelands will be active because the trigger will go on the stack, so maybe not so good. It's time to draw a Broadside Bombardiers, please. Pithing Needle. Is this going to name the One Ring? That's what I would name. Which means we're about to draw the One Ring. Yep, there it is. Without fail, the top card of our library is the One Ring. Oh my god, it wasn't. Okay. Maybe they just don't have the Bowmaster and they're just really baiting us. But they got lots of life to lose. Sundering Eruption. I can destroy this land and stop them from being able to cast Bowmasters. It also means they won't be able to block. They went for black mana instead of green mana. Okay, so they're going to float black mana, then we can go to combat. If they don't use it, we can attack for free. They're going to go and get their one old forest. I assume they have one of each basic. Are they going to use this mana at all? It is the Bowmasters, so we were correctly playing around that. This can't block, so we can just get in a full send for 6 here. It says can't block on them. This all looks fine to me. Put our opponent down to 10. If we find another Sundering Eruption, this game might end quite quickly. I'm not sure if we have many more. We only have 2. I can't remember the exact numbers of our double-faced lands because we had to put in some Kazul's Fury, which is obviously not a stock thing for these sorts of decks. To make room for it somehow. Malevolent Rumble is good. Zuran Orb. And Barsing Say. Cool. This is to allow you to just recur Wastelands and just produce a Wasteland lock. So what they went for the Zuran Orb. Presumably we're going to see the Zuran Orb. Imagine if we could draw like a Broadside Bombardiers or a Fury on this board. I think our opponent scoops if we draw a Fury. We only have 1 Fury in the main though. A Hogak. That's pretty good, isn't it? Alright, the turns have certainly tabled here. Okay, a little bit late on this one, but I'll take it. If our opponent attacks, they do open up a pretty substantial crackback. But we get to loot next turn a little bit. We don't really want to loot for that much because of the Bowmasters, but we can probably get rid of this Chrome Mox and let them ping us once. But turning this guy into a 2-2 is kind of a big deal. I guess we see what we draw, because we might just need to get something going. Life from Malone, getting their swamp back. That's really good. That is really good. Yikes. I think our opponent's going to win this one now. In comes the big boy. We're just going to take that. Trample is a little bit annoying for us. Chrome Mox. Okay, we have to pitch at least one of these. I think we can pitch one. Alright. We have a Dark Depths, which isn't so good when they got double Wasteland over there. But we're still going to play this. As long as they keep these Wastelands up, then they're okay. I don't think we get to attack into this board. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. So they can also make themselves above 20 life. So we can't just cheese them with a Dark Depths. They would have to lose all their lands, but I think they'd be okay with that because they'd probably kill us on the crackback. Oh, these Wastelands are going to jam us up. I could take 8 here. Then we don't get to loot. I could put a bunch of guys under the bus. Then what happens? What is our route out of this one? If we go to 1, the Bowmaster is going to be a real burden. We don't need more mana, so I think this can go under the bus. I think I'm willing... No, we just put 1 under the bus. We might as well just put the Simian Spirit guy under the bus. This isn't great. We don't have an option of drawing a Sundering Eruption because of the opponent's Zuran Orb. We could draw the 1 ring, which buys us a turn to get this to stop being summoning sick, which could then buy us a turn to Fury or Pyrogoyf our way out of this game. Besagi. Very rude. Okay, so we don't have access to copying in our guides, which is one of our ways out of this one. Tell him Tor's Edict. No, I think we've been had there. I thought we had this one for a while. Couldn't quite get over the finish line. So, Graveyard Hate stuff seems interesting. Ravenous Trap. If 3 or more cards have been put into their graveyard, so if they dredge a Life from Malone, for example. I also like these cards to kill all their little guys. How useful is the combo against the Wasteland guy? Pretty bad. So maybe this is just one where we have to suck it up and get rid of our combo. I promise you I won't be boarding this out every round, but this particular match feels like a difficult one. Still keep all the moon effects because they're just naturally good on their own. Betrayer's Bargain is fine. We can use this to kill creatures. What is the last cut here? I'm not going to cut this because this is a land. Maybe it just ends up being a Betrayer's Bargain, I guess. This is kind of a different beast here. I could just send a turn 1 Bombardiers, but I don't need to do that. We've got some really interesting interactive tools I would like to try and leverage. So I think we're just going to go Mountain Pass. Our opponent could Thoughtseize us here. They're probably going to fetch basics to play around Blood Moon effects, which makes a lot of sense given that's pretty much what our deck does. Exploration, that's a good one. They could get another fetch land here and then get the other coloured source they want. Just gone for an Urza Saga. Oh, Mox Diamond. Okay, so they've got all their colours. I hope they're going to blow up a bunch of artifacts at some point though. And a Malevolent Marumble. Which of these would you like? They have Thespian Stage as well. Okay, I'm very glad that we got rid of our Dark Depths, because then we'd just be turning on their Thespian Stages, and that would be bad news. A little bit late there. I think I'm okay to Bombardiers now. We're kind of trying to save this as a red card for Fury, possibly mana for Fury or Fiery Confluence. That's why I didn't just play it turn 1. Might take a while for this Ravenous Trap to find the targets it requires. Underground Mortuary, this will be the first card in their graveyard. This won't count tokens because tokens aren't cards. A Wasteland, they're probably not using that. They can double block our Broadside Bombardiers. Kazul's Fury. Not necessarily the one I wanted. Playing this out into the Wasteland is also a little bit awkward. This comes in tapped, by the way, if it's a land. If we attack, they make a construct. It's going to be a 2-2. So we'll trade with the Bombardiers. I'm not ready for that. Hopefully they don't smash up our Kazul's Cliffs. And then we can just Fiery Confluence, blow up some constructs. And whatever they get off of it. So it's kind of, this is basically going to trade one form with an Urza Saga. Now they're going to put a lot of mana into the Urza Saga. And we've also got a little Bow Boys. They've got one card left in hand. So if we can just beat this Saga, I think we'll be okay. They might have an Expedition map to go and just get another Saga. Haven't seen a lot of that lately, but I think it's something that Pox decks could think about. So this Urza Saga is going to go into the graveyard. That's going to be card number 1. Zero Orb. Bar Sing Say. Lavaspur Boots. Alright. They got no cards left. They are going to hit us for a chunk though. The Ward 1 on this is genuinely very frustrating. Just going to take a big swing. I think if we can beat what's in front of us, we'll be okay. They're going to wasteland this. We can't cast this for its trap cost. Blood Moon. Not quite where we need to be. Attack with this. They block with both of these. That really jams us up. There's no way that we can get this into play because they're just going to double block here. We're dead on the crackback. We need our opponent to make a mistake. If we put 1 damage here, 3 damage there, that doesn't do anything. We can kill both of these, attack, throw the guy, that's going to shrink their things. But we can't throw the guy because this dies immediately. The only way we win is if our opponent doesn't block the Broadside Bombardiers. So we have to make our opponent make a mistake here because we don't have anything going on. I don't think chump blocking with Broadside Bombardiers helps. Please just don't block. Why would they not block though, is the question. Oh, they didn't block. That's huge news. Okay, we're still playing this one. So we're going to exile... I think it's the Blood Moon here. So we can put 4 damage on this. And then we can throw it at this. And then they lose both their guys. Pay for the ward. So this takes 7. Then this Evoke trigger kills this guy. Whew, thanks for not blocking, opponent. Means a lot to me. And then if we can get enough mana to Fiery Confluence, we can clear these out and blow up like Lavaspur Boots and stuff. If they find a Life from the Loam, things can get a little bit sketchy. Maybe Ravenous Trap will be useful. Alright, they just got a Bayou. Interesting they wouldn't have used Barsing Save first. Okay, so this is going to be a 1-1 creature. Oh, is it 2-2, is it? Oh, okay. This is going to be a little bit of damages. This is just going to give them repeated guys to attack us with. Which is obviously not ideal, but one problem at a time, deck. The One Ring. If we attack, we die on the crackback. Unless we have something to fling, which we don't, so we're just holding in this position. They attack us for 3 this turn, we kill one of their guys. I think we're just going to get... Actually, no, they can just Barsing Say another land here, can't they? This is a nice inevitability engine they've assembled. Oh, they're casting the Malevolent Rumble. They had lethal on board. Okay. They're probably going to take... Well, They could take any of these and it's still fine. Our opponent's made a couple of mistakes on the way here. But I think they're still going to get it done. We made a really big mistake in registering our deck. But we're here for a fun time. It's a festive Christmas fun time. So this pings us to 3. So then if we block here, we still take lethal. And you have got an opponent. We needed our opponent to make a little mistake, and that did let us back into the game. I wonder if we're supposed to pitch this Fiery Confluence to the Fury so we can then play the Magus of the Moon or whatever, the Blood Moon, so we can stop the Basking Save from working. That might have been the line. Although that would only stop them Basking Save this turn. It wouldn't have stopped them from being able to do... Oh, no, it would have, because they wouldn't have had black. No, they would have, because they could have used this. Then it wouldn't be attacking. I know, tricky. Let's go to round 2. With Christmas almost here, there's no better place to buy Magic the Gathering products than 3-for-1 Trading. They boast an enormous array of singles and sealed products to help you complete your pre-modern and legacy collections. Whether you are looking for a gift for that special someone or just want to treat yourself, be sure to use the code COW3 on your first order over $500 for free worldwide shipping. Yes, I would like a turn 1 Magus of the Moon, please. This is what our deck is supposed to do. Would I like a Magus or a Blood Moon? One of them beats down, one of them is harder to answer. I think we're going to go for the Blood Moon being harder to answer. We could just win the game off of this play alone. Or it could do literally nothing to our opponent. So far, so good. Here is a Dark Depths. If you blow up my Blood Moon, you're going to have a bad time. So they've got a lot of reveals. This is probably looking like some sort of Beanstalk deck or an Omnitail deck. Omnitail deck can probably just ignore what we're doing, which is unfortunate. But we can board in the Trinisphere and then their Omniscience doesn't actually do very much. Which is another one of the reasons why I wanted the Trinisphere in. There's been a lot of Omnitail lately. I think it got 7 top 8s last week. That's crazy. Alright. Brainstorm, no shuffle available to our opponent. Get down a mountain, get down the Broadside Bombardiers. Start cracking in. Ponder, this is going to shuffle away one of the cards from the Brainstorm, so they would have had to have drawn one for their turn. Tropical Island is feeling a lot like Omnitail. A Pyrogoyf. Well, we got 2 types in the graveyard. We can do better than 2 types, can't we? Magus in. Bash. I could dome my opponent for 5. I didn't really feel the need to do that. A Tamiyo. Sure. Telentor's Edict. An interesting one. We could use this to pump our Pyrogoyf if that's something we're interested in. I don't think it is, but it's worth thinking about for a second. We could just play the Pyrogoyf and then... I guess we could attack and then play the Pyrogoyf. And then our opponent might have to force the Pyrogoyf. The Pyrogoyf can finish off the Tamiyo. I assume they block the Magus. They might not though. They do. Let's get Pyrogoyf in. Got Force. Pitching Uro. Okay. They could still be an Omnitail build, or they could be some sort of like Beanstalk style deck. Mystic Sanctuary kind of suggests more towards like a Beanstalk control list. They did not want to attack with the Tamiyo. Interesting. I thought they'd be quite keen to attack with the Tamiyo. Right, we're going to Shatterskull Smashing the Tamiyo. If they flip it, we can just attack it with our guys. They were trying to cast Force of Will, but they can't cast Force of Will, right? No. Rakshas's Bargain, okay. We don't get to see what these cards are, but we know they're selecting some good ones. But yeah, if they had like a Brainstorm, what happens is they flip this, and it's on 2 loyalty counters, so I can just poke it with a guy. Get attacks. If we draw a Kazul's Fury, we could think about just trying to dome our opponent for 20 with a Marit Lage. But if our opponent answers our board, we can just Telentor's Edict and get a 20-20. Alright, they've scooped it up. We were close to doing our combo, but we just didn't need it. It's kind of like the backup almost of what we're trying to do. So they're a control deck. What does a control deck not want to do? Pay lots for its cards. That's probably all we need for this. I don't know if we need the Fury. Get rid of one of those. Do we need Pyrogoyf? Like, it's just a guy. We want to keep threats in here. The Betrayer's Bargain might be a little bit less good here, because our opponent's going to have fewer creatures that we care about. It doesn't kill Uro either. So that's kind of an important one. Ideally, Uro is not going to be a factor. Do we cut 1 Dark Depths? Maybe cut 1 Dark Depths? Sure, we can keep this. This is a turn 2 Moon effect. That's obviously very powerful. Be more powerful if it's turn 1, obviously, but, you know, what are we going to do? Another Telemtor's Edict. Not the big banger I'm hoping for here. Up the Beanstalk. As predicted, our opponent is on this life. This means that we might struggle to resolve some spells here. Let's go for a Blood Moon. I'm not sure this is going to resolve, but it's the best way of reducing our opponent's ability to play this game. Alright, you can have a Force Will that cantrips. It's pretty good. Brainstorm, moving some stuff around. Next turn we get to play Fable of the Mirror Breaker or Magus of the Moon. They don't have access to white mana. They can obviously turn this into a white land and then go from there. I'm going to go for Fable this time. We need to improve the quality of the cards in our hand somewhat. Blue Blast. I guess we would have been alright if we'd have played the Trinisphere because they couldn't have Blue Blasted it. Xander's Lounge. So we've got everything but white over there. And there's the white. They have to be playing white because just like Leyline Binding and stuff is made for Up the Beanstalk, really. Murktide Regent, you say? That's quite a substantial creature. Kazul's Fury. That can do some stuff for us. I wonder what's going to happen to this poor little Magus of the Moon. I'm just going to cycle one of these. Maybe the 2 life is important, but it's not going to matter that much. It gives us another Ancient Tomb activation, but I think we just need to draw additional cards here. Ancient Tomb, not great when we're being clocked like this. We don't have any Red Blast, which is a problem. We don't have any Dead and Gones either, which is something you sometimes see out of these red decks. But we had to fit everything in, so it's not always going to work the best way. I played this build as a Karn build before, but I thought I'd try something a little bit different today. You could always just draw the One Ring, and that probably wins us the game somehow. Kazul's Fury. Guess we play this one tapped. I can't attack my Ancient Tomb, so we're just going to pass it over. We could just Telemtor's Edict our Ancient Tomb as well. Just give ourselves another draw to find a way out of this one. Quite what that way is, I'm not really sure. Especially when our opponent's probably going to have counter magic. Goodbye, Ancient Tomb. We need to redraw. Bombardiers. Trinisphere. We can cast the Bombardiers and do nothing with it. Yeah, I think we're going to go to game number 3. Do you want anything to try and deal with this Murktide Regent? I don't think we have anything that's good enough, really. Let's just go in. They're not always going to be trying to turbo aggro us out with like a really early Murktide like that either. Turn 1 Blood Moon. And here's what we're here for. Possibly turn 2 One Ring. Actually, no, we can't turn 2 One Ring. We can turn 2 One Ring if our opponent counters the Blood Moon. They have to be looking for counter magic here. Let's play Chrome Mox. How do you feel about Blood Moon? Force of Will, pitching Ure. Okay. So next time we can cast the One Ring. Probably holding up Hydroblast here. We could just cast the Trinisphere. Yeah, let's use the Trinisphere as a piece of like disruption. Our opponent can't counterspell this. Oh, sorry. If this is in play, they can't counterspell other stuff. And if they burn a counterspell on this, that's something that's not getting hit by the One Ring, which should just take over the game. Right, we're surveilling. That's not a big sign of strength there. Or we're in. Okay, so they don't get to play anything next turn. Then we get to Magus of the Moon them if we want to. I think we're just going to cast the One Ring when we know they can't counterspell it. Let's draw a card. Simian Spirit Guide. Not quite enough to get this Magus of the Moon into play. But they're always going to be able to fetch and get that island. But the One Ring should just give us more stuff than they can ever answer. Even though we are given the option of getting a second land in here. Up the Beanstalk. You got it. Let's tap the One Ring, get some more resources. Telemtor's Edict is not really what we're about right now. Do I want 2 mana off of this or 1 mana off of this? Cast Magus of the Moon. Then cast another Magus of the Moon here. It's going to be very hard for them to get Domain. And we can just start beating them down. I'm sure this will find us something else. Got mountains. They've got 3 types. They can Leyline Binding something. They could Leyline Binding our Trinisphere and then unlock counter magic. They've only got 4 cards left in hand. But they would obviously cantrip from those using the Up the Beanstalk. Is this going to be a prismatic ending? Feels like it. It is indeed. This unlocks our ability to multi-spell as well. a Trinisphere. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. Let's get Trinisphere down. Just in with that. Let's get attack in. Our opponent's spending their entire turn to deal with Trinisphere, and we're clocking in for 4 damage in the meantime. That is worth it to me. Let's draw some more cards. We can also Telemtor's Edict to get rid of the One Ring, which is pretty cool. Let's go attacks. 1, 2, 3. So we could play a Chrome Mox here for 3 mana. A little bit expensive. I'll put the Smashing in there, I think. Then we're just going to hold up for Telemtor's Edict on our One Ring. Hydro Blast, targeting our Magus of the Moon. Just get rid of the One Ring when we know they can't counter this. Hydro Blast, not so good at 3 mana. We've got Spirit Guy. We can almost do a surprise play of something in a second. Pyrogoyf is also a 5/6. So if they like get rid of our Trinisphere, crack this fetch land, we get this attack in. This is now going to be lethal. And getting rid of our Magus of the Moon. Yeah, so we're not going to have lethal here, are we? Sundering Eruption. How much mana have we got here? Quite a lot, as it turns out. Let's go for a Blood Moon. They can't cast anything because of the Trinisphere here. We can get the Pyrogoyf in and dome our opponent. Put them to dead to any Broadside Bombardiers action. We can play this as a tap land. Oh, sorry, it won't be tapped actually. We have Telemtor's Edict if we want it, or we can Fable. That's Fable actually. That seems way better. We didn't need to burn both of those Spirit Guys because we got the Chrome Mox actually. Could have looted them away. They need to get rid of the Blood Moon so they can have some sort of Wrath effect. I guess if they have Terminus in their deck, they could just play a land and Terminus us. That would suck. Leyline Binding. What are they going to target with this? Okay, they need to draw a card. So we got a match. We're 1-1. Not too shabby. Let's go to the 3rd round. Turn 1 Blood Moon on the play. That's what we came here to do. Chrome Mox down first. Let's imprint this Kazul's Fury. That's probably the worst card in our hand. How's the game ended? Do we get the free Blood Moon win? Our opponent might be debating whether or not to scoop. Okay. They're not debating whether or not to scoop. Because they might want to preserve information if they think it's going to be hard for them to get out of the main deck Blood Moon. Chrome Mox. Are we looking at a Storm Mox deck? Or are we looking at like a Fair Mox deck? We could be playing like a Pseudo Mirror. They could be Saga Storming or Epic Storming us or something. What is that? Starfield Shepherd. Okay. We're doing some white initiative probably. That is a Plains. That's cool Plains. Alright, deck. Not really the one we wanted. Let's start the damage in. If they introduce the initiative, it's kind of awkward because the Broadside Bombardiers have been able to take it back so easily. And if we can find anything to throw, then we'll be in a good spot. There's the Plains we know about. 3 mana. Is this going to be an Anointed Peacekeeper? Jacked Rabbit. Whenever this creature attacks, create a number of 1/1s equal to the number equal with this creature's power. So it attacks a 2 and it makes a 1/1. Okay. We can't quite finish this off, unfortunately. I'm going to play another Blood Moon. Maybe we're not supposed to play the second Blood Moon out. We've just got Menace so we can make this attack. We can throw this Chrome Mox at the Jack Rabbit, but it's not really going to help. So this gets them 2 1/1s when it attacks. And this is going to gain them life whenever they make guys. Okay. This is starting to go a bit wrong. Couple little rabbits. Halia goes away. Oh no, they hard cast it, didn't they? It doesn't go away. They just get to... Oh, can we stop drawing Blood Moons? This is just going to outpace what we're doing. I think we just need to hold back the broadside. We just can't draw anything to throw. Because we can't throw enchantments as any artifacts or creatures. If this had been a Magus of the Moon, this game would have been fine, I think. Because we would have taken out the Jack Rabbit and then we could just keep swinging. So you're going to swing in with a bunch of guys. You're not going to swing in with your rabbits. I guess now they can have us on blocks as well here. This is very bad. They're going to warp in their Starfield... Oh, sorry, they're going to play their warped Starfield Shepherd for its full cost. A Guide of Souls. It's going to be very difficult for us to outpace this unless we draw a Fury right now. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. That's actually a good card. We do have some good cards in our deck. We could throw nothing to do nothing. think we're probably losing this one. Oh, geez, they got something else to play. Which Enchanter? We're going to blow up the Fable. That's more important than anything else on the board. Yep, there it goes. No more loots for us. They stack their triggers correctly. They get to jump one of their guys with Guide of Souls. I think they attack with everything here. I haven't done the math, but it feels like we're dead. They could have stacked this. Actually, no, they couldn't have stacked it the other way because they need to get the energy from these guys. But next turn they can stack it the other way. So he gets bigger, then makes more tokens. We can't block any of this, so we're just going to have to take 7. We're probably going to need like the One Ring to be exceptional for us to get out of this pickle. Broadside Bombardiers. No, I think we're just dead here. Right, we're going to board in all of our things that kill creatures. And then we should have a much better time. I would like to have access to these red cards. What are we getting rid of? White deck probably means Dark Depths is not the best way to go. I'm not going to get rid of it all. I'm just going to trim. They have Chrome Moxes, so the Blood Moons aren't as good either. We can trim on a Telemtors. And then we do just get rid of like another Blood Moon here. Oh, we've still got 6 Blood Moon effects. Betrayer's Bargain is just fine here. It's a removal spell. It's just playing broadsides out good. Is it good enough? Can we do something more powerful? I think I'm going to keep this. We can either start cracking in with Bombardiers straight away, or we can save this as something to blow creatures up with. But then we're a bit slower out of the gates there. I think we do just play the turn 1 Broadside Bombardiers. If our deck doesn't deliver things that we can throw, then we're going to lose. Like, our deck's going to have to draw something to get us out of this one anyway. Like, this opening hand is a good starting point. Could have access to the One Ring next turn. If we draw it, we can cast it, and then I think the game is very heavily in our favour. A Wasteland. You're going to Wasteland us while we have pressure. You go ahead, buddy. I'm glad that we managed to get this Broadside Bombardiers. So basically restarting the game, except our opponent's taken 4 damage. We're getting ploughed. It's a Pussycat. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Our opponent hopefully won't attack into this Goblin Shaman token. But once we start getting treasures, those treasures just get to ping down all of their guys. If they remove our Goblin Shaman, they're not adding extra stuff to the board that much. I guess I could go like Guide of Souls, Plough. Alright, our approach has had enough. Pretty big stomping one side or the other. Let's resubmit. It's pretty good versus the old creature deck, isn't it? Alright, we'll give this a whirl. I'm reluctant about this one. We don't need many pieces to come together for this to work well for us, though. Yep, so if they invest a lot in their first turn and we can just say, Fury, you didn't have a first turn, that's going to be pretty good. Anointed Peacekeeper. Ooh. Yikes. So they're going to name Fury, which makes Fury cost 2 to play. We can still play the Fury. We just don't really want to. They did name Fury. Not a shocker, that one. Drawing the Dark Depths there is a bit of a shocker, though. We've got time. This is only 3 damage. We both have Ancient Tombs. Are you going to play another one? Oof. They're going to name Fury again. This is becoming a worry. They did name Fury again. Now I have 6 power and we can't interact with it this turn like I was hoping to. Second red source, I suppose. That gives our opponent permanent information. We can cast a Fury next turn. It costs us 4 mana, but we can do it. And that takes out one of their guys. So maybe they'll just be nice and play like a 1-1 guy this turn that we can also Fury away. Wasteland, we played around it. I think we do have to blow this up. A Chrome Mox, does that change anything here? We could Chrome Mox and Shatterskull Smashing one of these. But then we lose a Fury. But we might be able to hardcast a Fury. But can we because of this? We could Fury, pitching Fury, pay 4. Or we could pitch a Fury to this Chrome Mox and then Shatterskull Smashing this. That's kind of the same. I guess we could Fury, pitching Shatterskull Smashing. Okay, we'll try that. And then try and draw another red card or something. The next Fury is at least cheaper. But they have absolutely pounded our face in with this guy. I needed you to have your Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride draw, not your big chunky boy that disrupts me draw. little bit punished for keeping his hand, perhaps. Starfield Shepherd. So they're going to warp this in, go and get themselves a 1-drop. It's a Plains, okay. And now they have 3 mana. They're going to play another guy. They're going to wasteland us. They didn't get to use all their mana this turn. That's something at least. Okay, we're not dead. Do we have to just Fury this? We play this and we imprint this and play this. We could have hard cast a Fury if it wasn't for this. I really don't want to have to lose my Fable the Mirror Breaker. We could play the Fable the Mirror Breaker and block for a turn. That might be the better line. But that does mean that we're tapping this Ancient Tomb right now. Okay, I think this is the line. This is the line to try and win the game. That's the line to try and lose the game slower. That's how I'm perceiving it. Because this is effectively just going to draw us 2 cards. Because our hand is bad. If we can shuffle away some of the junk, that's going to really help us out. I'm sorry, Goblin Shaman Token. You are not long for this world. You're just not opponent. Oh no, they're playing something. They're just going to play the Shepherd. Yeah, they're just going to play the Shepherd back, and they're going to warp, and they're going to go and tutor for a 1-drop or a Plains. A Guide of Souls. They can't play it this turn. Fiery Confluence. That is a banger, isn't it? So yes to this. I guess we get rid of Dark Depths. Do we get rid of both Dark Depths? I don't think so. I think we get rid of a Chrome Mox here. Tenantor's Edict. We're going to go 1 damage to each creature. So we get to clear their board out. We've got a Fury we can hard cast at a price, and then we can start like copying it, and then I think the game ends if we can get to that stage. They can wasteland us off of the Ancient Tomb or the City of Traitors. Yeah, probably the City of Traitors is the best one there. They could take the Ancient Tomb so that when we cast the Fury, we end up losing a lot more. All right, 3 cards. How are we going to get out of this one? We've got a 2-2 this turn. And this guy. Oh, yes. Here we are. Here is what we all came to see. There is Magus of the Moon. Here is my Dark Depths. We're going to do it, team. We're at least going to make the 2020. It might gain us 20 life, which ends up winning us the game. But we'll see what happens. Thraben Charm. Destroy target enchantment. That is not what this game is about, opponent. Are you tapping out? I'm going to have to read this. When Fortune... So this is 3 mana, 2/4 with Saddle. When it enters Scry 2, when it attacks while saddled at end of combat, exile up to 1 target creature that saddled it, then return those cards. Just like a weird little blinky guy. I don't think that matters. Don't have a Solitude is all I'm asking, opponent. The big booty on this means it's going to be hard for us to interact with it. Our opponent needs to have exactly... they need to have exactly Solitude white card. Let's go 2020. There is a significant pause here from our opponent. Oh, yeah! We nailed it. You absolutely love to see it. Okay. We managed to assemble the combo and it worked. And we have a positive record so far. Let's go to round 4. Alright, this is just a normal, sensible looking hand, isn't it? We can turn 1 Blood Moon if we think it's going to be good. Or we can turn 1 Fable, or we can slow it down. We've got options. Oh, the 1 ring, though. We could try and get a Magus in now and just shut our opponent out completely. We could Fury and kill this and see if they want to interact with that. I don't hate that, actually. We're kind of trying to bait our opponent into interacting with this one, but we also don't mind if we kill their guy. Let's see if we can shut our opponent's ability to play this game down. Okay, they just have a basic mountain in play. That's a mountain. Alright, the plan is working. I'm not going to burn any of these on a Chrome Mox. Well, the only thing we can burn is Fable, and that's what we would like to play with our Chrome Mox, so it's a kind of a moot point trying to put it under there. If we draw a land, maybe we end up playing the 1 ring this turn. Magus of the Moon. Chrome Mox. I'm going to imprint this Magus of the Moon. We don't have to worry about days because our opponent has no islands. It's Force of Will or Bust here. They didn't have it for the Magus of the Moon, which I think they would have liked to have cast. So they've had 2 cards to find a force. Alright. Another victory for our friend Magus of the Moon. We don't know that much about our opponent's deck, but I think this looks like one where Trinisphere is going to be an interesting inclusion. I will do some trimming just to fit some Trinispheres in. I think the Blood Moons are still pretty good. Get rid of a Kazul's Fury by chance. This only deals damage to creature, not Planeswalker, which is a bit of a shame. We'll just chuck in some Trinispheres. We can reappraise the situation after we see how this game plays out. They haven't seen our nonsense of the Dark Depths. Previously, when we've played this deck and we've had the Khan build, that does give you access to the Expedition map, which is pretty cool. As well as just Khan being a one-card win condition, which is a lot more so than something like a Broadside Bombardiers. So I do think I like the Khan build more, having played a few rounds of this one. But we're still positive so far. What does this hand do for us? We can turn one like a mediocre guy. I think we can do better than this. Okay, we can turn two a moon effect. That's honestly fine. We're probably putting back the Telemtor's Edict for now. We can work out something with that later on. We play Kazul's Fury on 1, and then we try and play the Magus or the Fable on 2. They're both pretty good spells. I think it's going to depend what the board state looks like at the time, depending on which one we want to play. If our opponent's going to have some basics, then the efficacy of Maze of the Moon certainly decreases. But if they have a wasteland that's tapped for some reason, then getting the Magus down just to protect our mana is also an option. Yep, so they've got the ability to find a basic land here. A Dark Depths, you say. Let's play this Kazul's Fury, and that will confuse our opponent. They might not look at it, they might just go, it's just some red land. And just assume it's one of the good ones. Consider. Okay, our opponent's on Doomsday. I see. That is intriguing. There is a Tamiyo. There's a Brainstorm. They're going to flip their Tamiyo. Just hit Planeswalkers? It does, okay. That is something that we can use at some point to try and mangle this Tamiyo. So now we have the Tamiyo clock. Sundering Eruption. Intriguing. Feels like where we play is getting countered here. I'm going to go for this Fable. I don't think it's going to resolve. Oh, it did. Okay. So now we have something that can actually pressure the Tamiyo. We might be able to Magus and then play Dark Depths next turn. And then we can Sundering Eruption away something. And then they won't have any blue mana left. And we'll just be chipping in at this Tamiyo. This is quite an important turn. Alright, they did have the Dark Ritual. Oh, it's just a Pyrogoyf. That's fine. It's just a guy, isn't it? Chipping in at the Tamiyo certainly looks a little bit trickier now. What are we getting rid of here? I think it's Blood Moon. And could be the Smashing. Trinisphere. How do we get through what our opponent's doing? We can Fog for a turn. Get the One Ring in. Okay, have the Force for this. We were ready to beat Daze, but not Force. If they attack, they can't protect the Tamiyo, so I imagine they might just hold back the Pyrogoyf on blocks here unless they have another one. Just protect the Queen and win that way. Goodbye. Okay. The long goodbye sent my little token away. Now they get to do everything. Not a bad little hand you had there, opponent. But we get to be on the play for the last round. The last game. I think they definitely should have stayed on Doomsday as their main plan. Pyrogoyf is obviously very good against us, though. It's a 6-7. Why is your guy so large? Oh, and you had a Tamiyo. You've got to use every bit of the buffalo over there. This does not hit Planeswalkers as we previously established. It's also too small to hit this. How do we beat this? Okay, we have a plan. It's not a great plan, but it's the one we have. If our Magus of the Moon dies, we get a 20/20, which will not kill our opponent in one hit. I don't know if they can answer a Marilasian play, though. We're kind of banking on the fact that their deck can't beat that, but their deck can probably just draw one of the remaining copies of Doomsday. I don't think they would have got rid of all the copies of Doomsday in their deck. So they could probably find one and just win that way. This will also flip the other Tamiyo. They maybe wanted to get an attack in first. Like, we are very much in trouble here. But we know we're up against a little bit more. And we know their mana base is actually more fragile than first anticipated. But I guess they got Petals as well. Disruptor Flute can handle Doomsday or the Tamiyo. And then we just need to make sure that we can handle the Pyrogoyf. It might well just be a situation where our opponent can't beat what we're doing. Because we have a Dark Depths on attacks and blocks, potentially. Copy the 2020... Oh, no, that doesn't work, does it? What am I talking about? It's legendary. I should know that. Alright, this is going to be a Murktide Regent, perhaps. Seems pretty solid. So big Murktide Regent. They don't want our Pyrogoyf... they don't want their Pyrogoyf to kill our Magus of the Moon, though. That is interesting. But we have an uncounterable way of getting our Magus of the Moon to do its thing. Am I attacking with this? They could block with the Pyrogoyf, and then we can finish off the Pyrogoyf and make a 2020. I think we'll just hold for a second. They can go all the way up with their Tamiyo again if they want to. Have they got anything good in their graveyard to get back? Force of Will, Long Goodbye. Long Goodbye doesn't exile, it just destroys, right? Yes. I suspect this Murktide Regent is coming in. Let's go to 2020. They will be losing their Murktide this turn. Because we can just copy it as well. But they have all their mana back, which could be a little bit worrying. Let's block this Murktide, get that gone. Didn't expect that, did you, opponent? But they're sat over there with like a bunch of Hydroblasts. And they'll probably have all the cantrips in the world to find an answer if they do have one. But I'm not so sure they do. I think they've got answers like Long Goodbye and Fatal Push alongside creatures like Pyrogoyf. I don't expect them to have a Borrower because they're playing Doomsday. Okay, so they're going to get back the Long Goodbye, which can... If they've got a Dress Down, that works. Dark Ritual. Are we going to see a Doomsday here? They can probably just win with a Doomsday line right now. The Long Goodbye on our Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Okay. That's not the most important permanent I have in play, opponent. Another Pyrogoyf. That's really annoying, isn't it? Because now our Merit Lage has to be back on blocks. Just need a shock. Just need to cast shock. I'm not expecting any of our additional spells to resolve here. Let's get Trinisphere in. This slows our opponent's ability to actually use all these cards they've got in their hand. Considering our opponent's Tamiyo altered, I think we're making a good stab of it. If they have another Pyrogoyf, then we die. Because we block one, kill it, they deal us 6 damage, then they just attack with 2 the following turn and we die. Well, they still don't have what they need if they're brainstorming. Ponder. So they're still looking for something here. Presumably another Pyrogoyf. If they don't have it, they can't attack, and if they take 1 more damage somewhere on the lines, they're in trouble. Ponder. And I'm going to shrink our creature on attacks. Are we getting attacked? We are getting attacked. Okay, so we get a block off. We kill their guy. We lose half our life total. But they also go up to 33. They milled as well. They've only got 7 cards left. So they have a Thassa's Oracle still, and they're just going to deck themselves with Tamiyo and Pyrogoyf. Getting this Murktide Regent into play is pretty good, or the Pyrogoyf. Either of them forces us to have something. They chose the Murktide Regent, which I expect we're going to see now. Our opponent should win this one. Dark Ritual. Okay, so we're not playing out the Murktide Regent. We're just playing out Pyrogoyf. This is the setup we mentioned that could beat us. We've got another draw available. Hopefully it's something amazing. That is amazing, but it's not going to be good enough. And we go to game 3 here. So now we know our opponent's on Doomsday. Do we want to do anything differently? They're probably going to keep in the Pyrogoyf plan against us. If they wanted it first time around, why would they not want it next time around? I don't think we need Null Rods. Fury is okay here. Would I rather have one of these other things? I don't think we want Faerie Macabre or anything like that. I think we do want Betrayer's Bargain over the Fury because this answers their Pyrogoyf some of the time. Pyrogoyf is fine. Do we want access to more of our combo cards? Do you want to go higher on that front? I think the main plan is just like Trinisphere or Blood Moon and then get that going. So close, but yet so far. I think we have to send this one back. Turn 1 Blood Moon, that's what I'm here for. We also have turn 1 Trinisphere as an option. We could bin off the land. I think that's the baller thing to do. I don't want to play around Force of Negation on this one. No, I'm just going to jam this Trinisphere, I think. They might have Force of Will and Force of Negation. Okay, they had the Force of Negation, so we could have played around that with a Magus, but then we wouldn't be able to play our next spell because we didn't have the extra mana source. So I think this sequencing works best for us. It's just unfortunate. Lotus Petal. Surely they haven't pivoted to Doomsday on the draw. Like, if they wanted to pivot, I think you gotta believe in that pivot. I'm gonna start pressuring my opponent's life total. I don't want to mess with their mana. I think we're gonna press their life total because we don't have their land. This way we can guarantee play a spell next turn, unless we get wastelanded, which is something you're seeing in some of these Temper Doomsday deck, which is kind of wild. We can get Long Goodbye. We've got Undercity Sewers from our opponents. They've got 2 card types. So at present, we can't actually kill a Pyrogoyf if they play one. It'll go up even bigger once they play this Lotus Petal. Okay, nothing there from our opponent. Can I have a Magus? We might get in a situation where we have Magus in play, then we Sundering Eruption away one of their lands. A Dark Ritual. We're going to see a Long Goodbye here. A Dismember. Sure. But they spent 2 cards doing that. That's quite a lot. I could play this Sundering Eruption, or I could hold it in case we want to blow up something. I think I'm going to hold it in case I want to blow something up. 2 cards left in our opponent's hand. Be a nice time to get some Wandering action. Betrayer's Bargain. That's not great, is it? We're kind of struggling here. I think I'm going to play this tap now. It means if we draw a 1 ring, we can play a land after we've cast the 1 ring. Because we can draw into one. Do we really not have anything going on over there? Ancient Tomb, we can always cycle it with a Telemtor's Edict if we really want. It's a mountain. I think I will play it out still. I'm going to go upstairs with this Chrome Mox now. We've got a lot of land in front of us. They can always put artifacts in the graveyard, so we're not really messing with Delirium anyway. Or not Delirium, but, you know, Goyf stats. A Dark Depths, you say? We'll hold on to that one for now. We're both drawing badly, but we have a 2-2 in play. A Trinisphere. This is lethal if it resolves. We can throw the Trinisphere at our opponent's face. A Dark Ritual, you got it. And a Hardcast Force of Will. Okay, we're still playing. If we lose this game, it's going to be pretty wild. Pyrogoyf, it is a 4/5. We have a solution to this. Fable the Mirror Breaker is also a pretty good solution to this too. This is lethal as well as... Well, sorry, this is the thing that's going to give us lethal. Go attacks with this. They can't block because of Menace. And we throw this at our opponent's face. And we win the game. That was a really weird match. Well, that game in particular was very strange. Okay, so we're 4 rounds in and we've locked in the positive record. So we're already going positive with mono red Dark Depths. Let's see if we can make it a 4-1. This hand is perfectly serviceable. We get to make a turn 2 broadside into turn 3 the 1 ring. I will take that. That's certainly a powerful thing to be getting on with. Well, our opponent's mulling into 5, so they might just combo us out. Or they might just have a non-functional hand. Oh, that does change things, doesn't it? Let's have a Chrome Mox. Telemtor's Edict. They've only got 4 cards in hand, so I don't think they're going to have much resources to actually interfere with what we're doing. They're probably not that sort of a deck. This could be fetch for Surveil land, maybe try and storm us. Could be Epic Storm. That deck has been doing pretty well lately. It put a copy into the top 8 of Eternal Weekend, and it had 2 challenge top 8s last week as well, so it's doing pretty good. Collective Brutality. Okay, so we're playing probably a Reanimator deck. But of what kind? Don't want to play around Days. I think I do want to play around Days. Let's get the ring in. Telemtor's Edict. We did win a game because we Telemtor's Edict our 1 ring as well. So just so much synergy and quality in our deck apparently. That is a swamp. Let's get this guy in. This puts our opponent to 11. We can hit them for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have lethal on board here. We chuck the 1 ring at their face. And we chuck the Broadside Bombardiers at their face. Alright, We got the game. We don't see anything apart from Collective Brutality. They might just be a mono black deck, and this Undercity Sewers might be a bit of a diversion. I'm going to play all my Graveyard Hate, though. I think the Trinisphere is probably also a good shout. Doesn't feel like we're going to need Fury or Pyrogoyf here. Broadside Bombardiers controlling the board, not the most important thing. The Blood Moons are certainly less good here. Maybe I'll keep the Pyrogoyf in. I don't think Betrayer's Bargain is doing the work for us. I'll trim some stuff here. That'll do. We've got some anti-graveyard stuff. I think we can keep this, and we can play a turn 1 Trinisphere. We've got a Lotus Petal. I probably kept 7, so the force is definitely on their side this time around. Oh wow, we just get to go here. I would like to play my Mountain. I would like to play this. It's awkward we didn't draw another red card. Trinisphere. This should make their life a lot more difficult. Now, we do need to find a soul land here. That would be the best draw, and then we can just jam this One Ring, and then we should be able to pull ahead from that point. But our opponent can't disrupt us and make a guy in the same turn at the moment. So they've decided that they want to unmask us. Oh no, they've unmasked themselves. Oh, that's even better. We can blow them out at some point. I'm going to play another Trinisphere. It's more things to throw with our Broadside Bombardiers. This does not make everything cost 6. It's not how this works. Are you going to try and reanimate your guy? An Underground Mortuary. A Dark Ritual. It's going to be a reanimation effect. Bit of Arc of Cruelty. And a land is fine. Alright, they've just had enough of us and they've scooped up the game and the match. So we managed a 4-1 today, which was pretty impressive. We obviously stumbled at the first hurdle and then just absolutely came back. So let's talk about this list. Honestly, I don't think this deck is very good, despite the the good result we had. But I do like how powerful doing the Magus of the Moon on turn 1 thing is. Broadside Bombardiers was actually kind of not that good here. We didn't have very much stuff to throw to it. So maybe next time we try this out, we should have a different creature here. Like if this was Goblin Rabblemaster, obviously not great into the Pyrogoyfs of the world, but it is just a bigger clock on its own, whereas this needs more resources to go with it. We could also, like the Pyrogoyf was fine. I wouldn't mind having another Pyrogoyf possibly over the Fury, but the Fury definitely came in clutch from the sideboard once. Clearly doing the whole Magus of the Moon and then blowing up your own guy to get a 2020 into play isn't the best strategy in Legacy. But a big 2020 creature out of a deck that you do not expect that from is quite powerful. And we did win a game because of this. I think there was at least 2 games where this was threatening to do something really, really good. And it gave us an out against our Doomsday opponent who managed to just draw enough stuff to get through anyway. The Betrayer's Bargain, this card is perfectly reasonable. Like, casting this in Legacy may not look that exceptional, but it's fine. And I'll certainly take fine. 5 damage is a lot of damage to deal with something, and it can deal with some of the bigger things that the mono red deck struggles with, like the Pyrogoyf, for example. So there's definitely something here. I'm not sure that this is the best configuration. I think the One Ring is obviously very good. We can certainly leverage that a bit more. But having our 8 moon effects and the sack stuff is there. I think maybe it's just the Bombardiers. Should be something else. Although it did win us games still. But a lot of other things in that same spot might have also won us games. But just having a bit of removal on a guy is a nice bit of flexibility, even though we're not very good at throwing stuff around. There's an argument to playing the Lotus Petals instead of Simian Spirit Guide, so you've got lower end stuff to throw to Broadside Bombardiers. But you can obviously throw this if you just cast it for 3 mana, and that's probably fine. And we don't need other colours, so I think I do prefer the Simian Spirit Guide at the end of the day. I think if we were to change this list, we could also trim on a Kazul's Fury, maybe put in another one of these lands instead. So get like another Sundering Eruption in. That would probably be relatively useful, because Sundering Eruption can also blow up Wastelands so that when we go for our combo, we're okay. Maybe we're only supposed to be playing 3 Dark Depths. I did play a build of this before that was also running Thespian Stage, and the Thespian Stage didn't feel very good, that's why I've cut it. So maybe this should be like 3 Dark Depths in here, and then we can, you know, tinker with the numbers a little bit, free up a bit more space like a bit of back and forth stuff. So this is like a nice backdoor plan where we say, okay, you don't get to play the game because we've got a Magus the Moon in play. But now if you remove this, you get to die. So you kind of have to give us so much more time and space so we can just get all of our other resources up and running. But yeah, we can't complain with a nice 4-1 victory with our mono red depths. The Trinispheres were very good out of the sideboard. Because we don't get to play Chalice in the main because of Rang Telentor's Edict as like a relatively key piece for what we're doing, I think it means that we have to have like the Trinispheres in the board, but they were good. They were good for us, and I would definitely play them again. The Ramner's Trap we didn't get to see today, not in a way that made sense. We drew it against Pox and it didn't do anything, whereas Faerie Macabre would have done something in that situation, but not a lot. The Unlicensed Hearse would have been much better in that situation. So there's another thing to think about. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this one went. And if you want to buy your Telentor's Edict, you know where to go. It's 3-for-1 trading. The link is in the description. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, become a YouTube and Patreon member. Help me pay my bills. It's really important. And most importantly, enjoy the rest of December. Goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low-cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly, the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.